Inside the stories that affect you. This is Inside KELOLAND.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Bridget Bennett. On this week's Inside KELOLAND, we are digging into South Dakota's worker shortage, as well as the hot housing market. Over the last few months, you may have noticed quite a few hiring signs all over KELOLAND. As of August 31st, there were more than 27,000 job openings advertised on the SD Works database. However, the South Dakota Labor Department says the state's seasonally adjusted unemployment rate for July is at 2.9%. According to the Labor Department's website, about 13,500 people are currently listed as unemployed. August data will be released on September 16th. Now, businesses have been dealing with the worker shortage for months. Now it's getting even worse as high schoolers and college students head back to the classroom, putting even more of a strain on managers trying to schedule staff. As buses are returning kids to school this week,
elevator stairs,
and college students are moving back to campus,
good afternoon.
Retailers and restaurants around KELOLAND are missing even more workers.
The majority of our crew are, high school kids and college kids. So with them heading back, we definitely have taken a hit.
Mackenzie River Pizza has been short on staff all summer.
Definitely use another 6 to 12 good sets of hands.
But with school back in session, they're having to make some adjustments to make sure they have enough help.
At times we've had to shut down tables, go to a limited menu. When it's really hitting hard, we do have to shut our online ordering off.
Just try to get it out there.
At running Sioux Falls stores, the size of the sign illustrates the need.
Between the two stores, we could hire a dozen.
Some of the hardest times to fill are the mornings and noon hours now that school is back in session.
Some of them are starting football. I've got great kids that are on a Harrisburg football team and different things. So that depletes my staff a little bit more.
For those employees heading to college, Runnings is doing everything it can to keep its workers with the company.
Runnings has a lot of stores all over. I have one gal transferring to Bismarck, North Dakota, another one going up to Brookings.
Yet another reason he's focused on recruiting.
My most challenging job is finding help out there.
A familiar feeling for just about every manager in town.
It's been rough. All the friends that we have that are in the industry are all saying the same thing right now.
To cope with the continued shortage of workers, many restaurants and stores are starting to reduce hours or even close their doors more days a week. I spoke with a few businesses who are having to get creative with these fewer employees.
This is one of the greatest places I've ever worked in my life. That's why I wanted to become an owner of it.
For the past 8 years, Lyle Gakey has baked bagels for his customers 7 days a week. Until a lack of staff forced him to make some changes.
We shut the drive-thru down, and then once we started losing more people, we had to shut down 2 days a week. So now we're closed on Sundays and Mondays.
He's also closing at 2 instead of 6 p.m., all because he can't find enough help to stay open.
Normally we have about 17 people on staff. Right now, including my wife and I, we have 8. So half of what we normally have.
Some restaurants have had to shut down entire sections due to lack of staff. That's when Overtime Grill got creative and actually made half of their restaurant self-service, where customers get their own drinks and even place their own order.
And then we will deliver the food out to you. We'll clean up after you. Basically, the only difference is you won't have a dedicated server at your table at all times.
In 20 years in the restaurant industry, Overtime owner Jeff Doherty says he's never seen a staffing shortage like this, where he and his staff are trying to continue serving customers with at least 8 to 10 missing positions. So what does it mean trying to run a restaurant without those people?
Very, very difficult. We've had to come up with new solutions. We've closed certain areas at certain times. We've had to adjust our hours, just not be able to stay without the labor. It leads to a lot of stress and a lot of sleepless nights trying to come up with solutions.
He's had the hybrid service in half of his restaurant for 2 months and says so far most customers are understanding.
We obviously prefer to still be able to do full service to everybody. It's working because it has to work. We don't have any alternative. The other alternative is to shut this side down altogether.
As we've been talking about the impacts of the worker shortage on businesses, there is an important question for customers to consider. Could you be making it harder for retailers and restaurants to find employees?
This to stay here to go.
For 3 years, Joelle Diekoff has welcomed people to breakfast and lunch at Josiah's in downtown Sioux Falls.
Good, how are you?
She says the best part of the job is interacting with customers.
I think most people generally are very, very kind, honestly. Like, I want to emphasize that. A lot of people are kind when they come in here. We have great customers. But a lot of people come in and I feel like they don't even look at me. They don't even, they look straight at the caramel rolls or whatever it may be.
But sometimes customers can make an already tough job even harder.
Definitely being yelled at, I would say, or just kind of snippy people, Sometimes it's the little things that affect me the most, I would say.
Needy customers are always, even in the best of times, a struggle, let's say. But right now at this time when, you're short-staffed, you're trying to do more things than you can, and then you get people that are, being pests to you, basically, is not fun.
Restaurant owners all over Sioux Falls are short on staff.
Ideally, we would probably be looking at 8 to 10 people.
And while customers may notice a difference in service,
I think it's stressful on everybody. I think everybody feels it, yeah.
the shortage is even more noticeable for staff.
They're just working a little faster, a little more productive than maybe what they used to.
Josiah's owner, Kibby McCormick, says for the most part, customers are understanding.
They can really see that we are working as fast as we can. And so I think that makes them understand that we're doing it the best we can with what we've got.
But even a few challenging customers can make coming to work all that much more difficult.
Please have patience with everybody because they're really trying to do their best.
Nobody wants to come to work and get mistreated at work. We're all suffering from it. Please be kind to the people that are out there that actually show up to work.
At a time when they are needed most, South Dakota is also facing a shortage of nurses. Healthcare professionals worry this could negatively affect patient care at hospitals all over the state. From 2015 to 2016, about 1,700 registered nurses left the South Dakota healthcare workforce. Last year, more than 2,500 nurses dropped out of the state's workforce. One national nursing organization estimates that South Dakota will be almost 2,000 nurses short of what they need by the end of the decade. A South Dakota News Watch article looks deeper into the state's nursing shortage. You can read it right now on KELOLAND.com. Schools across the region are also still looking to hire more teachers and staff, even as the school year is already underway. The Sioux Falls School District has been using Facebook posts to find staff members, including music teachers and custodians. The district hopes to expand to more platforms like TikTok. Rapid City area schools are also using social media to recruit educators and other staff members. That includes positions that are open for health assistants and student nutrition. The school district says it has openings at several schools across Rapid City. And school districts all over KELOLAND are in need of substitute teachers. The Beersford School District is always looking for substitute teachers in the community. They come from all backgrounds and are required to fulfill multiple roles that a regular teacher would do.
Substitute teacher will pretty much do anything and everything that the regular classroom teacher does, and that can range from lunch duty to hallway supervision to teaching a lesson and working with our kids to help them take their next step.
Substitute teachers in the Beersford School District receive some training and work with principals to understand their expectations. Still to come in Inside KELOLAND, we talk with the Sioux Falls Development Foundation about the solutions they're working on to help fill these open positions. That's after the break. Welcome back to Inside KELOLAND. If you're just joining us, we've been looking into South Dakota's worker shortage. Joining us now is Denise Gazetta, the Vice President of Talent and Workforce Development with the Sioux Falls Development Foundation. Denise, thanks so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so the situation in Sioux Falls, we're less than 3% unemployment rate in South Dakota. Is this the lowest we've been in the situation where we've needed the most workers at any point in South Dakota?
I would say we've been in this sustained full employment for a very long time, which is great. We're growing as an economy, but we're also, the shortages that we are seeing here are not unique to South Dakota. We're actually seeing shortages across the nation.
What's behind the shortages that we're seeing right now?
Absolutely. So you're seeing an aging population, you're seeing a lot of retirements, and so there's a lot of industries that have been heavily hit and impacted by that.
Did the pandemic have any impact, any of the benefits that came out from that, or people retiring early because of that? Was there any impact because of the pandemic?
Absolutely. One of the things we've seen is we've kind of been open to remote workers and people that can kind of fill some of these positions. You're also seeing what's called the rise of the gig economy, where people are taking more contract positions. So those certainly have helped the businesses here and will continue to do so in the future.
All right, now let's talk about Sioux Falls. Do we have enough people here already to fill the number of positions that we have open?
We do, okay. Plus, we do have programming that focuses on getting more people into this market. So first, we're really working hard within the K through 12 system to really take the talent that we have and really develop it. So employers have the skills that they need when people graduate from high school, and also they're getting more supply because we're nurturing kids younger. So that's first and foremost. The second thing is our recruitment marketings look to bring people in. So we're working with over 300 colleges to really broadcast and really make prominent the businesses here and the kinds of jobs that they have. So that's one of the talent attraction efforts that we have going on.
This sounds like a very competitive market with a lot of states dealing with a worker shortage right now. Is there a lot of competition and pressure to try and get these young workers in?
Absolutely. One of the things that I would always point to is the Sioux Falls community is very cohesive and very inclusive, and that's really a good sign. So we just need to continue to get more businesses engaged in our programming so we can really help bring more talent to them.
Now let's talk about, there's a lot of new businesses coming to Sioux Falls specifically. We have Amazon, CJ Foods, lots of other new businesses that are being built right now. What's it going to take to get enough employees to fill these new places?
Well, some of those employees will actually move with those companies. So that's number one. Number two, we're going to see, especially with like an Amazon, we're going to see a lot of people that are coming back into the job market because of the technology they use and some of the employment practices they have. So there's a lot of exciting things that those two companies are doing. But I would also focus in on the fact that we have all this programming that's available to our businesses to help them with their needs. So
what kind of programs do you have available? If there's a company in the Sioux Falls area that's really struggling right now to even stay open because they don't have the employees, what resources are available?
So I would say we have two things that are coming out really immediately. First is our Career Connections, which takes the talent that's available in high schools and connects that to businesses. We do that through a series of exposures. We have about 22% of our kids actually inside the school system that don't have plans beyond graduation. So let's maximize what we're doing there. The second thing I would point to is our Talent Draft Day, which is coming up at the University of Sioux Falls on September 23rd. That's a great opportunity to attract talent into your business. So all you have to do is just look at our website and get those dates and come to our events.
Let's talk about some of the workers and the recruitment for some of the retail and restaurant industries have been some of the ones hit the hardest right now after the pandemic and opening back up. What resources are there for those sorts of businesses?
The two that I just mentioned are great resources, okay, because you have a lot of people that are coming out. They need part-time jobs, really. They're looking for, different types of employment. So I would tap into those resources. Plus, we do have electronic marketing campaigns that really are broadcasting within a 150-mile radius. We call it Work Sioux Falls. That attracts more people into the businesses to help the businesses that are in greatest need.
Have you been hearing from business owners who say it is hard to stay open right now? It's hard to run a business without the people.
Absolutely. And what we do is we connect them to one of our programs. We help them because that's what we're here to do. We're here to serve them.
Now let's talk more about the situation across the country. This workforce shortage, talk a little bit more about what's fueling it. The reason why is the question everybody's asking right now. Why are we all of a sudden short all of these people?
Well, we're short because we've seen a rise in retirement. So for the last couple of years, some people with traditional pensions and those companies that have sort of that kind of employment offering, we've seen that they've delayed. So now they're actively retiring, right? We've also seen where we have an aging population of people, and so that too has really compounded the issue. So we're not experiencing anything that's any differently than any other city or state. We just have more comprehensive programming and more alignment to really work with businesses to help solve the issue.
Do you think the worker shortage is more noticeable in a growing community like Sioux Falls because we are seeing so much growth?
It's always a good sign. So it's kind of the pendulum, right? you feel the growth and you feel the pains, but you also are grateful for the growth, right? So, I mean, since I have been here in the last 6 years, we have really increased substantially in size, and we will continue to do so. But we also have great efforts that really help businesses. So let's start there. Let's try to get those businesses involved in our programming and help them.
All right. Well, Denise, thank you so much for your time and for talking about this topic.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
All right. Stay with us. We have more about housing and the impact that has on the worker shortage coming up right after this. Welcome back to Inside KELOLAND. Over the last half an hour, we've been talking about the worker shortage. As the state tries to attract more workers to South Dakota, we also need a place to put them, building more homes and apartments. According to a recent report from the South Dakota Multi-Housing Association, rental vacancy has dropped to an all-time low in the Sioux Falls area. The July 2021 vacancy survey shows an overall vacancy of just 3%. Now, the association says an increase in construction of new units should help alleviate some of that pressure. Now, the city of Sioux Falls is seeing some big construction projects this year. So far in 2021, the total value of permits issued is almost $725 million. Now, helping to fuel some of those numbers are new residential projects. So far this year, Sioux Falls has received permits for more than 2,400 new residential buildings. Some of the other big projects going on right now in Sioux Falls include the new FedEx distribution center, the Carlton Apartments on the east side of the city, the Winchell Phase 3 expansion, and the new East Side Avera Clinic. And to help make sense of all of those numbers, we have Jake Kwanzi from Lloyd Companies with us. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jake.
Absolutely.
Now, you deal with these things all of the time. Lloyd has apartments all over South Dakota. What kind of vacancy rates are you guys looking at right now?
Yeah, in our current portfolio, we're at 99% in our stabilized portfolio, which is just kind of crazy to imagine. There's some relief coming with the new stuff coming online, but it's not fast enough. We know that.
Yeah, these projects take a long time to build. Tell me, how many projects does Lloyd itself have going on right now, and how far out before those units are ready to be rented out?
Yeah, so we have at least 10 major apartment projects going on right now, and those will deliver anytime from next month to a year from now, depending on where they're at in the cycle. And we try to turn over as many of them as we can, as quickly as we can. But it's going to take a little time before we're able to absorb all of the population growth that we've seen this last year and a half.
Is the multi-unit housing or the apartment buildings, is that really the solution that a lot of developers are looking towards to try and just get as many people in as we can?
Yeah. I mean, I think for a healthy community, the solution has to be multifaceted. You need all elements of it, but that multifamily housing is a really critical component of it, and it can be done in an element that serves every level. We need affordable housing. We need workforce housing. We need some of the more high-end housing. And I think you're seeing the builders and developers in our community trying to service that at all levels, and it's hard to keep up with.
Yeah. With this growth of creating houses for these workers to go to, you also need workers to get that done.
Yes.
So let's talk about that role that's playing on maybe slowing down or the progress on building these new housing in town.
Yeah. We work with a lot of trade subcontractors and vendors around town, and the reality is they're all tapped out. We look at trying to get different things started, and we know we need to get them going. Well, there's just no one to do the work. So it's a chicken and the egg situation. As we bring new people in, we know that that's increasing our workforce, but they all need a place to live. And we've got to keep going to get that done.
On a standard apartment complex, how many people, how many hands might be involved in a project like that?
Most of our complexes, we try to be 150 or more units, touching a lot of trades. So there's going to be, hundreds of people that come in and out between that. When you start with site work and concrete, framers, drywall, electrical, all the trades, you get into all that. There's hundreds of people that come in and out of any one of our jobs.
And you've got those projects going on in the Sioux Falls area, but you've also have some of them going on in the Rapid City area.
Absolutely.
Talk about the housing situation in the state's two largest cities.
Yeah. Sioux Falls, our growth has been, we've been steadily experiencing this piece of it here, and we've kind of can see the cycle. Rapid City, with the anticipation of what's going on with the Air Force Base, has really taxed what's happening within the labor pool there. And so it's even more challenging there to figure out how to make things work. But fortunately, we've been able to tackle that with a couple of projects, and we're going to continue to do that. The vacancy numbers are very similar there, and actually probably have been there longer than Sioux Falls when you look to the last 5 years.
Yeah. Now let's talk about that worker housing or the affordable housing component.
Yeah.
Are you meeting with a lot of city leaders and having a lot of conversations about how to build that piece of housing in South Dakota?
You know, we spend a lot of time talking about that with both state and local leaders. We have a great housing authority here in South Dakota. They're very good at getting creative and looking to solutions, so I appreciate working with them. But you're seeing the legislature now is really digging in, trying to find solutions that can help to address this, because affordability is getting more and more difficult in the current climate. But it takes everybody. It's going to take the private sector, it's going to take developers, and it's going to take the community stepping up to make these things happen, to make sure that we can meet those needs and get as much good, safe, affordable housing that fits each income level.
Yeah. Can you talk about the role that housing does play in attracting these new workers? If we want to bring in some people from other areas to here, what role does that housing component play?
Our state and our communities have a lot to offer people, and that's going to go a long ways to attracting people. But if they don't have a good place to live, where they can be in the neighborhoods, that they can access schools, and it fits their family lifestyle, we're going to lose those workers, the people who we recruit here to fill these jobs. And we're seeing incredible job growth in these communities as well. We have to have a place for those people to live, and housing's going to have to fill that. And some of that, a lot of that, at least in the short term, is going to be multifamily housing. But we know that there's going to need to be an owner-occupied component of that continues to grow and fill the gap. And I know, you're seeing that happen, but it's hard because it gets more and more expensive.
Yeah, well, we are sure glad there are people working on this issue and trying to get some more housing. Anything else that is important to talk about on this topic?
Yeah, I think it's great to see our state, the legislature's taking time here in the off session to really investigate how they can do this. And so, communicating with our leaders at the state level as to how we can better service these is an important part of the community process, and get things that build for today, but also, are going to programs that will still be there 20 years from now. Because South Dakota's in a really good spot. Our leaders have set us up for success, and I think it's going to last for a while.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Jake. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, stay with us. We'll have much more right after this break. That's all the time we have for this week's Inside KELOLAND. Thanks for joining us.